Chase Folsom, Frontstretch.com. Brenden, you mentioned the truck start you're going to make this Saturday. Obviously, you'll make your first laps on track Friday afternoon for practice, pending weather. Having run 2 late model stock car races here in the past on the old surface and now again tonight on the new one, what will you be able to take from the races here in the late model that will transfer to the truck, especially on the new surface?
I think it's just, more seat time and laps around a new pavement. Obviously, kind of what we had the last 2 years is totally different with the pavement. You kind of got to throw that out the window. But the overall, laps around the track's still the same. It just has more grip. The character's still there. The uphill down the back, the downhill down the front, all that is still the same. So I think, being able to run this late model race is going to give me extra laps that some of those guys don't even have on the new pavement. And then if we do have weather Friday and Saturday, it's possible the first lap of the trucks, for the trucks will be green flags. So I think, I was looking at it, well, that's kind of bad for me because I've never even drove a truck off pit road. So, but I'm looking at the positive of if it does work that way, I do have a race tonight that I'm going to have on this pavement that they don't. So I think it's going to be very beneficial to be in the late model race, only because we're going to see what the groove does, how it widens, if it becomes multiple groove racing, single file, all that stuff, those truck people or the truck guys are not going to know until pretty much the race gets going. Unless I'm sure they're watching. You're going to be watching our race, but driving it and watching it are two different things.
Brenden, we talked a few minutes ago about the difference in the pavement from last year to this year and how much different the track is going to drive with the new surface. Now that the tire wear isn't really going to be a factor like it was the last 2 years, how does your strategy going into the race change?
Is that for tonight?
Tonight, yeah, tonight.
I think, last year you were able to kind of manage your race and fall back a little bit. Like I started on the pole, rode 3rd or 4th, and just kind of played the race out. Now I think you can run hard every lap, so you need to start up front. You need to get track position early, and I think it's going to be hard to pass. So, I think being on the pole this year probably means more than last year, honestly. It always is nice to start up front in these Cars Tour races because it's so tough, but the field's gotten a lot tougher, a lot closer together, and I just think, track position's going to win the race tonight.
Brenden, you guys obviously haven't had the start to the year that you would have hoped. You've had some bad luck and some mechanical issues along the way. After a second place running last time out at Ace, you come to a track that you have won before. So how nice is it to be at a place like this where you've had success to try to turn your season around?
Well, it's definitely been a crazy start to the year. We've had a bad race, then we ran good, then a bad race, and we run good. It just hasn't been consistent like we thought it would be, and we not from lack of effort. Those guys have been working so hard at Elite Pulling Performance to bring fast cars every week. We've been fast every week, just stuff hasn't gone our way, and had a tough break at Goodyear racing for the lead and cut a tire down, and felt like that was probably a night that we probably could have won the race at the end. It was all lining up and it just wasn't meant to be, but I predicted that if I had to pick where my first win would be, I picked Wilkesboro this year because of last year being the first win, and it's leading up to it, so I wasn't wrong on not winning before then, so hopefully I'm right about winning tonight.
I'll add one.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Two very different skill sets when you look at the pavement last year compared to the new asphalt this year. When you look at those two different kinds of tracks, what sort of skills does old pavement test, and what sort of skills does a new pavement like this put to play?
So I love old pavement. I think that separates the drivers from the rental rides. You say, I'm not sugarcoating it, but the low grip takes a lot of discipline, and not everybody can drive it because you have to manage your throttle, manage your tires. There's so much that goes into it. When you come to a place that's got fresh grip, anybody can just hit the gas, and the track's got character, but for the most part, you don't have to worry about tire wear, and you're going to be just wide open all night long. But what I like about it is I've kind of been known for my low grip racing, but then I'm like, man, we went to Tri-County and led every lap last year, and almost should have probably would have could have won Dominion on a high grip track, and I think our team's good enough to win everywhere, and I wanted to prove last year that I could win on both surfaces, which we did. And I'm looking forward to racing on the fresh grip because I think our cars are good enough to win there too. But as a driver, it's hard for me to not say I like low grip more, just because there's so much more I can do, from the seat to make it to the end and have a shot to win, where I think like tonight you really have to stay in position all night.
Is that how you feel like is it just going to be absolute 100% on the chip all the way? How do you feel like it's going to race tonight?
Yeah, I think the track's a little bit slower than we were at the test, just because of the the rain and everything. But I definitely think there's no riding. Like you're gonna stay getting after it like qualifying all night long. So I'm interested to see how the race pace goes, because nobody's really ran longer than 10 laps probably at a time. But it'll be interesting to see. I think there will be some sliding around with the harder tire on the right, and that could open up the door to having some more side-by-side racing. But I think you're gonna have to make the pass quick. You're not gonna be able to hang side-by-side, or somebody's gonna get loose.
This is the third year of you guys coming here in the Cars Tour, and at this point, this event gets treated like a Super Bowl for you guys. But looking back on the first event here, it was pretty much a miracle that this track was even hosting a race again. Did you ever think that night that this event would become what it is today?
I didn't. Well, actually, I take it back. I did. When I raced the revival race, I was in my family car, so that was a special night for me anyways, and we ended up having an onboard camera just because we qualified 5th, and that was the guy that got chose to run the camera. And that was kind of the night that really kind of put me to where I felt like I could come run in the tour more regular than running at my home track. And that night, I don't think you can ever recreate the revival race. Like the energy was just unbelievable. And like I know we were packed last year, we're gonna be packed tonight. Hopefully the weather doesn't interfere with that. But I was walking from the autograph session to the grid at the revival race, and like it was like NASCAR in the 1990s. Like you had that feel back of like this place was sold out, standing room only, and it was race fans everywhere you looked. And I think that showed me right there like how important this racetrack was. And I never got to see it run because I was born in '97. So to be able to come back and say I made laps on that old pavement was special. And then now it's a crown jewel, and to say we've won won this race as a crown jewel is cool. And I got the moonshine still forever.